Mr Speaker, it's hard to follow from what we've just heard, but my question is to the Treasurer. Since the election, the adult population has increased by over 1 million people. Meanwhile, home building completions are around a quarter of that. We are in a GDP per capita or family recession. The only thing left driving the economy is migration at a time when Labor's housing crisis is worsening. Why is this government taking our economy in the wrong direction?
Call to the Treasurer.
Thanks, Mr Speaker, and thank you to the Shadow Treasurer for his question. We're not. For evidence of that, have a look at the quite remarkable jobs numbers that we got a couple of hours ago. We've got unemployment falling, we've got real wages growing, we've got inflation moderating. In each of those three respects, the economy is in a stronger position than what we inherited in May of 2022. Now, when it comes to the migration numbers that the Shadow Treasurer asked about, and indeed the housing situation that the Shadow Treasurer asked about as well, we did get today more data about net overseas migration. The reason why that number was relatively high was because of the arrival of international students. And what today's data doesn't take into account is the quite substantial action that the ministers and the government have taken when it comes to putting downward pressure on this net overseas migration. A number of these actions were implemented in the second half of last year and therefore not yet accurately captured in the new data that we have today. Indeed, from this weekend, there are new steps to tighten up some of the program to make sure that we crack down on the highest risk providers in the education system. We're introducing a new genuine student test. And this is on top of other actions that we've taken, closing the COVID scheme, strengthening integrity, tackling exploitation, targeting skilled migration to genuine shortages, increasing the minimum wage threshold for skilled migrants after that was frozen by those opposite for nearly a decade. So we're taking action when it comes to net overseas migration, but we recognise that it is largely a story about students and the strength of our university sector. When it comes to housing, and I want to say this in a respectful way that reflects the respectful way that the Shadow Treasurer answered the question in the context today of the speeches that were given a moment ago. When it comes to housing, if those opposite were serious about the housing shortage in this country, they'd vote to help fix it. And we have proposed, and again, tribute to the Housing Minister and the Cabinet, Prime Minister, we've got about 17 different housing policies and they've not all been supported by those opposite. And so if those opposite were serious about housing, there is a shortage of housing in this country and we're doing our best to address that and alleviate that, and if they were serious about it, they'd help us.